Normally when I do these talk videos, it is just me listening to my heart and letting it finally speak whenever it gets just too loud to keep quiet anymore. And I've been feeling a whole lot of things lately. I've been going through so many emotions that I thought I had even lost. I've cried for the first time in quite a long time, and I cried a lot. I've been crying a lot. I wanted to be open with you guys. I wanted to be vulnerable with you guys for a little bit. Because I just listened to one of my favorite podcasts when the kids go to sleep with Shay Carl and Colette, and he was talking for the first time about being an alcoholic and being weak and vulnerable and owning his story. And I don't necessarily want to do that 100%, like, I'm not an alcoholic. But I have gone through a whole lot of struggles. I have dealt with what I would consider definitely addiction. But my heart has really been just very loud lately. And some really horrible, absolutely horrible things have happened recently in my life, and I know also with the world. There's been a lot of bullshit happening, and personally, a ton of really horrible stuff has happened in my personal life, and where you just gotta take it one day at a time. And that's what I've been doing, is just trying to take it one day at a time and try to see it as, no, this is not where I thought my life was going, by any means. This isn't at all what I thought life had planned for me. And that's a horrifying, scary, upsetting realization. But really trying to think and focus on the fact that my life story is not over, obviously. It's still going. And this is not the end of my life story. This is just a new chapter. And sometimes it's really difficult to want to leave the chapters that we're comfortable with, the chapter that we know, the chapter that we've worked so hard on. So to move on is petrifying, because you don't know what's on the next page. You don't know what this new chapter has to offer. But I've really been trying to hold on to the fact that some of the all-time greatest people throughout history, their life story wouldn't be remembered if it wasn't for their new chapter, that horrifying new chapter, where things horrible happen and they push through and they continue their life and they grow and develop in their life to where we remember them to this day as good people. We remember them as role models or people that we can aspire to be, and it's simply because they made it through and overcame an absolutely horrific struggle. And that is what I am holding hope to for myself. And I know right now I'm being very vague. I'm doing that simply on the grounds of we have not gone public with some things that have been happening. But it's not the end of a story. It's not the end of my story. It's just a new chapter. And I'm going to be working really hard on this new chapter. Right now, I don't feel like I have a lot of energy or drive or support to do that, but I know it'll come. I do have support. It may not be the support that I had originally seen or hoped for or anything like that, but at least I'm not completely alone. And I can only do my best. And my best is what I am giving it each day. I wake up and I ask myself, alright, what can I at least try to accomplish today? And that's why right now, only today, I feel like I can make this video. But I felt it was important enough. I felt it was something that I needed to make. And so that's why I'm doing it. My heart got loud and I just needed to let it communicate. And I also received a message from an artful friend that you were on Anon, but said you watched one of my videos and it saved your life in a sense because you were planning on not having any more chapters in your life. You were planning on ending it. Ending your life story. And I really thought about that because I know my words may have helped. I am glad I put that video out there because it was there for you to hear those words. But I was really thinking about how it was you. Ultimately, it was you who chose to not end your life story and continue living. That was all you. Take pride in that. You were the strong one. I'm proud of you. But I want you to be proud of you too for that. Life is not easy. Life is not fair. Life absolutely can... gonna cuss. Life can absolutely fucking suck. And be full of the biggest horrible tragedies that are not fair, should never happen. But I think through every broken heart that continues to beat, we can hold tight to the fact that it's continuing to beat for a reason. We don't just ultimately end our life story. Our life doesn't end because our hearts are broken from something horrific. Most broken hearts continue to beat, and I feel there's a reason they continue to beat, because it means there's so much more for you. Even though it hurts, it fucking hurts. Your heart broke. That sucks. And it's not fair. And it's, maybe sometimes you question, is it fair that it's continuing to beat? But I ultimately feel there's gotta be a reason why it is. There's gotta be a reason why it continues to beat, even though it's broken. So, that's what I'm doing, is just holding tight to my heartbeat and saying, alright, you're still here. And we're gonna be okay. And we're gonna look back and say, yep, there was a reason. Because this isn't the first time that something horrific has happened in my life. So, this actually isn't even the worst time that my heart has been hurt so badly and harmed and damaged and violated. This isn't the first time. This isn't the worst time by any means. I've survived so much worse that I'm like, alright, well, I can look back on that most horrific times of my life and say, I survived that. My heart continued beating even through all of that. Ultimately, I can survive this. Ultimately, there was a reason why my heart continued to beat back then after such a awful, horrific, not at all in any way, shape, or form okay time in my life. But it continued beating, and there's a reason, and I feel the reason was so that I could communicate with all of you. That's just me. That's why I feel that must be the reason. That's gotta be the reason why, after that time in my life, I still was allowed to have a heartbeat and move on, and have to sit in this chair even during another hard time. But I could communicate to all of you. Whether it's helpful or not, I feel that's why I'm here. And I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank all of you because you all give me strength. So much. And the fact that I hear so many of you talk about horrible things that have happened in your life, and the fact that you've continued to move on and found strength within yourselves, even if my words just simply kind of were put there as a little guiding map to continue. That gives me strength. That gives me hope. You guys do ultimately mean a whole lot to me. And I may not meet all of you in person. I'm just one little tiny person in a really big world. So I ultimately can't meet every single one of you, but I feel for you. And I may not know you, but I know for a fact I love you. And I know for a fact that my heart does actually care so much for you. Because I do believe you're worth something. I do believe every life has a purpose and is worth something. And it's what we choose to do with it that defines us as people. And I'm hoping ultimately what I choose to do right now is to continue overcoming, continue to keep moving, and allow myself to go places that may not be what everybody else does. To where it may seem stupid to everybody else, but I don't want to be a normal person. I want to go down the paths that not many people go down. Simply because that path is there. There's gotta be a reason that path is there. Somebody's gotta go down it, it might as well be me. I'm doing the best I can to be the best that I can be. And that's all I can really ask of myself, is to just do my best and be my best. As long as I'm not hurting myself or others, I feel like I'm doing life correctly. And I'm trying very, very hard to live up to that. I may fail sometimes. I have failed, ultimately. But I'm not gonna let that get me down to where I feel it's impossible, because I don't believe it's impossible. It's not the end of my life story. I don't know what my life story is all gonna consist of, but I'm hoping it's a tragedy that turns into a good story in the end, where people can put it down with a smile. It's not the end. It's just a new chapter.